everybody, I hope you're well today. Welcome to Engage and Grow Central Midlands YouTube channel. I'm going to be uploading lots of videos to help you improve your organisation's employee engagement, improve your culture, create highly engaged, high-performing teams in your business to help accelerate your business growth. Today, I'm going to be talking, giving you some answers to some of the main questions that were asked around Engage and Grow, because it's quite a different beast to other employee engagement strategies. It can take some explaining how it works. So here are the main questions, the most common questions we're asked, so you can get a better idea about what really goes on in an Engage and Grow program. So first off, how did Engage and Grow come about? Well, it all began on the sports field. So an Aussie what he calls himself a failed elite athlete called Rich Maloney. He moved into coaching sports teams and did phenomenally well at this. He turned a number of sports teams into high-performing, winning teams that won loads of championships. And it wasn't long before business owners started coming to him and saying, can you do to my business what you've done for these sports teams? And that's how Engage and Grow came about. So these days, we've got more than 300 coaches around the world across 75 different countries. They're delivering a whole range of coaching and leadership programs, but all working towards the same thing, helping create high-performing and champion teams who are great at what they do and also they love what they do, because that's massively important. Next one, what does an Engage and Grow program look like? So each program is entirely bespoke, because what we do before each program is identify what the KPIs are for that specific organization. But we have the basis of each program that we start with. So the most popular program that we use is a 12-week program. So we're going to focus on that just to give you a little example. So in a nutshell, this is a group coaching program where a chosen group of leaders and employees, normally between 5 and 12 people, they come together and participate in sessions, ideally the same time every week for 12 weeks. What those sessions involve is a series of neurologically designed activities and exercises that create a huge behavior shift, both within that group, but also within the rest of the organization. And that's one of the key fundamental differences between Engage and Grow and other employee engagement and business improvement strategies. It's actually about changing behavior. And that is the main thing that Engage and Grow does. No matter what you're trying to achieve in your business, if you're wanting to improve any area of it, if you're wanting growth, if you're wanting transformation, if you're wanting change, you can't do any of it without changing people's behavior. And that's exactly what we do. So how do you know what to do in each program? So as I've mentioned before, each program starts, we get really clear on what the KPIs are for each specific organization. So KPIs that I found are really common, are really popular, are organizations wanting their people to work more collaboratively, or perhaps come up with new stuff, be more innovative. Perhaps there's something around roles and responsibilities, taking more ownership, so everyone's really clear about what they need to do, and everyone knows what their role is, and everyone makes sure that they're accountable. Quite often there's something around middle management. So business leaders are wanting to be more strategic, but they really need middle management to step up and start running the day-to-day part of the business so they can be more strategic. That's a really common theme, is around business leading, wanting to be able to step back to the day-to-day. Because quite often they end up getting sucked back in to the day-to-day and firefighting, and that's something that they, if they want to grow their business, they know that they do need to step away from that. So that's something that we help with. In a nutshell, Engage and Grow covers everything that's to do with the heart side of the business, which is the people side. So the culture, the leadership, communications, the relationships, the behaviors, all that sort of stuff. And whatever your priorities are as a business leader, whether that's big change programs, ambitious growth plans, it's absolutely crucial that you have a people focus to that, because it is going to fail if you don't. That's the part that we help with. I often talk about organizations are the same as humans in that they have a heart and a brain. And when it comes to business growth, when it comes to business improvement, too often businesses focus on the brain. They focus on the processes, the procedures, the systems. But if they don't focus on the heart, the communications, the leadership, the culture, all that side of stuff, the brain's not going to function. Exactly the same as a human. If the heart's not working very well, the brain is not going to function. You need to get that blood pumping to all the organs for them to function optimally. Exactly the same with the business. So we focus purely on the heart side of things. So we get clear on those KPIs, and the KPIs dictate the program. So once we've got the KPIs, a very clever engage and grow algorithm creates the program based on those KPIs. We also do an engagement survey of the participants that will be joining the program. That gives us a really clear idea of what their engagement score is as a percentage. So we've got that to benchmark against. That's from where we're starting at, which we can then measure against as we progress through the program. And also once we finish the program. So that means that the clients get a really clear ROI. And also for us, it's great because it proves how powerful the program is for employee engagement, because we've got that score that we can move up the dial. So who gets involved? That's the next question. The 12-week program, it's between 5 and 12 people. It's really important that leaders are there to show that they're taking this seriously. And there's a lot for them to change quite often, but it's not just for leaders. So it's really important that there's other people there that are of influence from across the organization. This isn't about leadership getting in a room, deciding what needs to happen, and then going off and telling people to do it. It's about people coming together, having those meaningful connections, those really important conversations about what needs to happen, what's getting in the way, how can we do things differently, what needs to change, what's working really well. So these hugely powerful conversations that are often avoided, it creates that safe space for those to happen. Why 12 weeks for this program? So we meet once a week for ideally at the same time, as I said, for 12 weeks. The reason it's 12 weeks is for a couple of reasons. First off, it takes 12 weeks to create behavior change. So it's like going to the gym. You go once every 3 months, you're not going to see any difference. If you start going once a week, if you start doing some exercise at home alongside that weekly gym trip to your PT or whatever, you're going to start seeing some difference. And that's building up that consistency through repetition. Behavior change is about habits, about building habits, about doing the same thing over and over again until it's the norm. We all clean our teeth, hopefully, twice a day. It's because we've been doing that for years. We had to get into that as children. Now we do it without thinking. The whole idea is that we're building these new behaviors, these desired behaviors that we get clear about at the start of the program. And so they're just part of the organization's DNA. Over the 12 weeks, we start to create that behavior change. So it feels natural at the end of the 12 weeks. And it is about doing. There's no theory in the Engage and Grow programs. It's very much all practical stuff, no pens and paper. I'm not training you. I'm not teaching you things. You're deciding what needs to happen and you're working together to make that happen. It's action. So what action is there happening? So in the first session, we get really clear on what the business is trying to achieve. Do you want to become number one in your industry? Do you have a particular revenue target you want to hit? Do you want to help a certain number of people? And this is the core focus of the entire program. Everything else comes back to that. What are we trying to do? And the rest of the program is how we go about doing that. What happens in the sessions and outside the sessions? This is something that people want to know beforehand because it's quite a hard thing to explain, as I've said. So as I said, each program is different depending on the KPIs. So we have different agenda items of exercises, activities, discussions, all neurologically designed to create that winning team that the business needs. And we build on those items each week. So as the weeks go on, you start doing more and more. You have to start cramming more and more in. And it's my job to ensure that we do cover it all. So an important part of the program is the small but powerful actions that each participant decides they're going to do between the sessions. So we call them either leadership acts or business success acts. And these are small things, something that's going to take 5 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, nothing that's going to take a whole day or a whole afternoon, but making those small incremental steps. And it goes back to that gym analogy, not trying to run a marathon when you can't run a 5K. Don't try to run a 5K when you haven't run for 10 years. So we want to make sure these actions are small so that they're achievable. There's a far greater chance they'll get done. And each week, the participants are building on these actions. So chances are, if you've got 12 people in the program and everyone does what they've said they're going to do each week, again, going back to that accountability, that ownership, you've got 144 actions, purposeful actions to help towards those KPIs. That's massive. thinking about the shift that would make, 144 different things. The other thing is it builds this accountability muscle. So the group are very much accountable to each other. Completed actions get green marks against somebody's name. Uncompleted actions get red marks. The whole group, on a tally board that we have every week, the whole group gets a red mark unless everybody's done what they said they're going to do. Nobody likes getting a red mark. As the weeks go on, that pressure builds, that healthy pressure. You don't want to let the side down. So if we don't start out with green marks, we do start getting them pretty quickly, because nobody wants to be the person that's given the group a red mark. And that's really powerful accountability. It's people doing what they say they're going to do. And that permeates into the day-to-day behavior of the wider organization. People do what they say they're going to do. That's massively powerful. What about employees who aren't part of that core group? It's a great question, and they're certainly not left behind. In fact, as we progress through the program, they can actually, the core group can invite other colleagues along. They come and see what's happening. They can see how things are progressing. So they don't feel excluded. And obviously the actions that the core group are doing out in the business between the sessions are going to start impacting the rest of the organization as well. So one of our 12-week programs, the impact can be felt by up to 200 people. Even though you've only got 5 to 12 people within the core group, the impact is vast. What about the results? So there's a few examples that Engage and Grow has had since it began 13 years ago. So there was one engineering company in the UK completed that 12-week program that we've been talking about, and it brought a lot to the surface, particularly that the owners were micromanaging, and they didn't realize this. But the team came out in that conversation, those connections, the team, they wanted to take their own initiative. They wanted to have more ownership, and the program created that safe space for them to have those open and honest conversations, and to be able to map out what it might look like instead. So the outcome was that the two business owners, their working hours went down from 55 to 30 hours a week. Meanwhile, the revenue went up by 31% at the same time, all because of the conversations, the discussions that were had, and the behaviors and the changes that were made as part of the program. It's massive. Another organization's leader said that the Engage and Grow program turned the company vision and the mission from words on a wall to a living and breathing culture. This is really common, that organizations have their mission and their vision on their website, they have it on their office wall, but that's it. So it's actually turning that into how you live, how you function as an organization. So it's hugely powerful for organizations that have got a really clear idea about the type of organization they want to be, the type of workplace they want to be, but they haven't actually been able to turn that into reality. Another company this is over in Australia, a plumbing company in Melbourne, saw a massive increase of sales as a result of the program. So their engagement skyrocketed. And as a result, the guys that were in the program, they started spotting potential business opportunities out on their daily routine. Before, it had been very much down to the business owner to do the business development, but suddenly had all these guys finding work just because they cared, they were motivated, they wanted to do more work. They were looking out for these opportunities. The other thing is that they really started to connect with each other. They started to trust each other. They realized how much they had in common, and they never really had that connection before, how much difference they could make as a group. And the result, after the first program, their sales went from $500,000 Aussie dollars to 2.4 million Aussie dollars. They were so blown away by the results, they actually did the program again. And by halfway through the second program, the sales have gone up to 6.2 million Aussie dollars. So that's from $500,000 to 6.2 mil. This stuff works. So the 12-week program is what I've been talking about today. That's one of the most popular ones, but there's lots of other programs that are shorter, for lower investment. We have programs where we actually bring different businesses together. So you get that opportunity to work with other organizations, other leaders from other businesses as well. The most important thing to do is to actually get in touch and have a conversation with me. We can have a free strategy call to talk about what you're trying to achieve, and I can help you decide the best route to go about it. I hope that's helped. I hope that's given you an insight into a bit more around Engage and Grow. Drop me a message if to have a chat. Thank you. Goodbye.